everyone. This is Light, and I'm happy to be here with you today for this audio. I was thinking about calling this a podcast when you don't see me, when it's just audio. I don't think I know what a podcast is. I thought that a podcast was just an audio show. But then I see that it's not, because I see these people with big microphones and it's just like any other video, but they're calling it a podcast. Or maybe a podcast is about interviewing people. I don't really know what it is. How is everyone today? I am doing well. That last video I put out where I was talking about that I was grieving, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit more, because let's talk about how do we grieve. And even for those who aren't grieving, for those who just may be in a low depression or sadness kind of thing, what is my tips? These are my tips for what helps me when I'm grieving or in depression or any kind of sadness. And and this is healing, right? So these are my tips for healing in general. And the first one, well, it's all what it is to me. The number one thing to do is self-care. That's the number one thing to do, is self-care. That's what it's all about, right? Our saying goodbye within ourselves to some things, and to our loved ones, people that we love. But the grieving is about the self-care, and we just acknowledge how we're feeling and what we miss about them and how they made us feel, all of that. So spending time in acknowledgement, I think, is important, rather than and acknowledgement, like, I don't mean concentrated time, but I mean when it flows over you, and we all know how that does. And that may even be our loved one visiting us when it flows over us, and then we have this special memory, or we hear their voice or whatever. Oftentimes that is them visiting us, and other times it's our memories coming up for us, because we're saying goodbye to being with that person in that way. And then now our relationship is going to change to a spiritual relationship with that person. So it's really about caring for ourselves. And that's what I believe, the ones we are grieving, that's what I believe they would love to see us doing, is self-care and taking care of ourselves, taking time to acknowledge what is occurring, and to be in it, and to be in the healing. And I feel immediately when we say healing, I get a feeling like maybe it's trying to push something away or cover it up and head a different way. But I don't really feel like that's, like, I feel like it's all natural. It's just all natural. So we acknowledge it, and when the feelings come up over us, we spend time and be in it. One thing I find very helpful is I was going to say move your body in a body prayer daily, and I do believe in that. But before that even is the breathing. Now, we talked about before on my blog how we talked about Wim Hof breathing. For me, Wim Hof breathing works for my exaggerated emotions. Where I'm already kind of hyperventilating, to take that and to put that into the rhythm and the program of the breathing that he taught, that really helps transition me into another vibration very well, even in your high states of emotion. But I find that when we're grieving, or when we're in sadness, or when we're in depression, some people can't even get out of bed, and you just have this emotional exhaustion. When you have that, Wim Hof may be way too much for you to do, because it takes energy to sit up and take deep breaths. That takes a lot of energy. And so if you're coming up from a very low vibrational state, what I like to do is just breathe with the ocean. I find that so healing. And something that you can do when you can't even get out of bed is you can put on those ocean sounds and start adjusting your breathing to the breathing of the mother, and you just naturally start to breathe together. It really does help to clear emotions and to kind of put you in a steady, peaceful state of being. So I would say number one would be to acknowledge and take time to be in it, and whenever it comes. And secondly, I would say to do your breathing with the ocean. And that one, I would set aside dedicated time before you go to sleep or whenever to just sit down and put on those ocean sounds and actually allow your breathing to adjust however way it wants to the ocean waves. And then thirdly, I would say move your body in a body prayer daily. And though that comes from the affirmation deck that I made. Body prayer is something that I made up that I think you would benefit from making up as well. Whatever your body prayer is, wherever you're moving your body and connecting with spirit at the same time, is body prayer. So I would say definitely dancing. But recently I am finding that I love to do my yoga moves to music. And I call that my body prayer. And I don't do the yoga it's not the word for program. I don't do the yoga format, let's say like that. Like with your vinyasa yoga, you know that this pose goes into this pose. But I'm thankful that I do know yoga so that I know all the poses. What I'm really, really loving in my latest body prayer is to put on music that makes me feel good. Right now I'm doing gospel and Prince. And I put that on in the morning and put my mat down there, and once I get stretched out, I just do all of my movements intuitively in whatever way I feel like doing it according to the music. That has been so powerfully wonderful for me, and it ends up being some kind of dance, yoga, tai chi, stretching thing, all to the music. It feels so good and it is so healing, and I know when I do that I am working the emotions of grief out of my body, because it sits in there. It's grief and your emotion sits in your body, and we have to move it out. So I encourage that. And mine is, that's mine. But you have yours, and I'm sure you'll come up with wonderful body prayers. And please share them with me in the messages of what your body prayer is. And I believe that was a very helpful little breakthrough for me, because every time I knew I was supposed to move my body, I didn't want to do a particular routine. Like I didn't want to do 30 minutes of yoga, in the way that it's supposed to be. And I didn't want to do 15 minutes of Tai Chi. And I didn't want to just put on the music and dance. But when I came up with it all together, just moving intuitively for myself, that was such a breakthrough for me. To just be free with what I knew and what my body wanted to do. And my body definitely took over. Like, here, let me show you what I want to do. So that is probably, okay, that's number 4 or 3, whatever. And then number 5, lots of sunshine and walking, because I talk about it all the time. So, but it's a matter of doing it. It's a matter of doing it, and that's a small goal for every day. Is and on my to-do list it says to go outside and get sunshine 2 times a day, at least 10 minutes, and I do it, and I love it. Each time I do it, I'm so glad that I did it. And even if there isn't any sunshine, I'm still going to go outside for 10 minutes. And if you're not doing the body prayer, or even in addition to that, walking is a wonderful meditation that takes you from one state of being to another state of being. You know what I would say? Because I always say it, walking is holy. No, walking does feel like it's holy when you are grieving, because each little step kind of takes you somewhere else. It takes you emotionally somewhere else. And yeah, walking is actually pretty magical. Pretty magical thing. Number 6, to cultivate beauty. I firmly believe, just as it's part of who I am and part of my personality, is to putter and make pretty things out of puttering, or make things nicer than they were, make things nicer where they are than they were. So number 7, to cultivate beauty. Yes. So wherever you are, in your grief, in your depression, in your sadness, or whatever it is that you're working through emotionally, I find it very helpful to cultivate beauty. So, clean up the house, make it pretty, make things that you already have pretty. Straighten up, take things outside. Take these random things that you found in the garage and make something cool out of them. Or, you guys know what I mean. Cultivate beauty, because my mind starts to get blank. But yeah, I go out there and paint the playhouse, and I clean up the yard, and love to plant things. And boy, my mind is just totally blank. So you guys put in there in the comments all the ways that you like to cultivate beauty. And wherever you go, definitely wherever you go, start cultivating beauty. That's number 7. I'm feeling like I'm missing my main example for cultivating beauty, and I just can't think of it. Okay, let's see what the next one is. Number 8, being conscious, bringing your consciousness to the time that you are spending caring for an animal. So if you already have a dog, an animal, a pet, these are truly joyous times for us, as we all know. Truly joyous time for us to spend time with our pets, and if not, then perhaps it is the time to cultivate a joyful experience with your pet. They only want to love you. They only want to be your personal angels and be there with you and love you all through the day, and tell you how much they love you all through the day, and cuddle and spend time with you in special moments and give you love. So my number 8 is to be conscious, being aware of when you're spending time with animals, with your pets and your animals. Enjoy that time, make it a priority, and even give them more time. That will only make your heart heal. Spending time with animals will only make your heart heal. And if you don't have a pet, then I still encourage it very strongly. So maybe you can volunteer somewhere And anywhere, in any time that you spend giving love to an animal will be very well rewarded 10 times over. And in the healing that you give by giving them your time and your attention and your love, you get back in loads and loads and loads more. So that's number 8. Number 9, which probably should have been number 1, is music. Obviously, music, yes. So you'll be surprised, maybe, I don't know, but walking with music, you can put some miles in. When you got some music in your ear and you're just walking, you can really put some miles in. And that is total and complete healing. 100% total and complete healing to be outside and walking with music. So that's my number 9. And hopefully these are all things that you can do when you feel like it. You know, nothing that you have to push yourself to do, but they could be small goals for the day. Small goals for the day. And then lastly, my number 10 is to take care of a plant or grow something. Take care of a plant or grow something. That puts you right back into new beginnings, into into the flow of creation and being in the flow of creation and newness and regeneration. And plants are like animals. You know, you spend time talking to them, spend time singing with them, spend time taking care of them, putting them in optimal sunshine patterns, and every day spending time with them. You know, you water them, you just say hello. You know, I'm so thankful I get to see you today. And even what I suggest, if you want to cultivate beauty, is make yourself a little altar with plants. An altar with plants. And I say altar because once you put that little space together with your plants, you can make a ritual, number 1, of going over to that little altar and taking care of your plants and dusting them off and making sure that you turn them towards the optimal sunshine. You let them know that you care and you love them and you give them water, and tell them how much you enjoy seeing them throughout the day, because I do, and they just perk right up and they hold their heads up high just like an animal, just like anyone when you give them love. And then on that altar, you might have some plants on there. You might have, I have my aromatherapy little setup in between the plants, but make yourself a tranquil space with plants. And then, you know, you could put something from your loved ones, that if you're grieving about a loved one, you could put their picture there. If you want to greet them in the morning, if you want to just send them special thoughts, you know, you can go over to that special little altar place. And if you want to acknowledge that you received the signs that they have given you, you know, you can light a candle in that little spot. You can light some incense over there. But yeah, plants and growing stuff. And if you already have plants and you're taking care of them, you know, spring is coming up, at least here. In America, spring will be coming up soon, and it's a wonderful thing to plant something and to see it grow and take care of it and cultivate it into beauty. So those are my however many steps that is, or however many tips that is, 9 or 10 tips for what to do when you are grieving. And I'm not actively grieving as much as I was before. I don't want people to think that I'm stuck in some kind of grieving pattern, but I do. But this is what I'm doing, and this is helping me to move forward. And all of this, is more about healing. It's more about healing, not just grieving, but it's more about healing and transitioning and growing naturally. And doing this will help me and you to not stuff our emotions so that we're doing it appropriately processing our emotions with self-care and love, and we will walk out of the other side deeper spiritually, more loving, healing, and peaceful. And then we'll be able to share that with others. And that's what it's all about. So thank you guys for joining me for this audio. And I did want to talk about, I have some stories of, just a few instances of when spirit has come through from the other side. And I will share those with you on the next audio. If you have, just so that you know that our loved ones are with us, Okay, so thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day.